بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Grade 10 Algebra 2. We are in Model 3, Lesson 3, Complex Numbers. Complex Numbers. Who can tell me what is the square root of -1? What is the square root of -1? Who can remember us? Is it 1 times 1 equal -1? What's the meaning of the square root? Means we have number multiplied by itself equal this number 49. The square root of 49 will be what? Will be 7, because 7 times 7 equal what? 49. 64. The square root of 64 equal 8, because 8 times 8 equal 64. Right. But if I have square root of -1, do you have number multiplied by itself equal -1? 1 times 1 equal 1. Do you have any number multiplied by itself equal -1? No. So in the previous stages, we said we don't have for the negative number square roots. We don't have to the negative numbers the square root. When square root for any previous, we want to learn a new idea to find the square root of the negative number, to find the square root of the negative number. So in this lesson, we want to learn perform operations, pure imaginary numbers, and perform operations with complex numbers. And we have new vocabulary in this lesson. Right. The first idea, the pure imaginary numbers. What's the meaning of the pure imaginary numbers? When we have the square root of -1, means no solution, because we don't have number multiplied by itself equal -1. So we will represent this sign I. We will represent this sign I, and the name of this sign, imaginary number. Imaginary number. And when you take the square of the two sides, I square, and the square remove the square root, will be -1. So I squared equal -1. I squared equal -1. So what's the meaning of I? Imaginary unit. Imaginary unit. For example, we use this idea to solve the problem when we have inside the root, the square root, negative number. For example, if we have square root of -b squared. In the previous levels, we can solve this problem, no solution, or impossible, or 5. But now we can find solution for this problem. How? We can write -b squared as square root of -1 times square root of b squared. And what is the square root of -1? Will be I. Will be I. So means I and here square root of b squared will be b. So the answer will be bi. The answer will be bi. When we have I exponent 1, this means I. And when we have I exponent 2, means this is negative 1. And when we have I exponent 3, means we have I squared times I. Because I means I exponent 1. 1 plus 2 will be 3. I squared means negative 1. Negative 1 times I will be negative I. Negative 1 times I will be negative I. So I want from all now to write in a new page the title complex numbers. Complex numbers. Then write the second title pure imaginary numbers. Then write this new word imaginary unit I. Imaginary unit I. Is the principal square root of negative 1 plus I done. The right is defined, please. A pure imaginary number is a number of the form bi. So then write the rules here. I exponent 1 means I exponent 2 means negative 1. I exponent 3 means I squared times I or negative I. I exponent 1 equal I. Right. Listen to this example, please. Square roots of negative numbers. The question simplify square root of negative 294. How to solve this problem? Negative here means negative 1. Negative means negative 1. And take 294 and do analyze for this number. The factors will be 7 to the power 2 times 6. So the square root now will be distributed to the negative 1 and to the 7 squared and to the 6. The square root of the negative 1 will be I, and the square root of 7 squared will be 7, and here under the square root of 6. So the answer will be 7i square root of 6. 7i square root of 6. Write this example, please. Done? How to do simplify for the square root of the meaning of negative here means we have negative 1 times 75. And we have rule I equal square root of negative 1. I equal square root of negative 1. So distribute the root. So we can write here square root of negative 1 times square root of 75. Square root of negative 1 will be I. So substitute here I multiply by the square root of 75. Take 75 and do factorization. You can divide by 3, you will get 25. Divide by 5 will be 5. Divide by 5 will be 1. So the factors will be 3 times 5 squared. Then here we have I. And what is the square root of 5 squared? Will be 5. And here 3 under the squared. So we can write the answer 5I square root of 3. What is the name of I? Imaginary. Imaginary unit. Excellent. And if I write 3I, what is the name of this number? Pure imaginary. Pure imaginary. I, imaginary unit. And when we have this number like 3I, 5I, 6I, this is pure imaginary. Done? Okay. How to find the product of a pure imaginary numbers? Listen to this example. Simplify square root of negative 10 times square root of negative 15. Negative 10 means negative 1 times 10. Substitute negative 1I. Also here the same idea. Negative 15 means negative 1 times 15. Substitute the square root of negative 1I. Then I times I will be I squared. And square root of 10 times square root of 15, 10 times 15 will be 150. And I squared means negative 1. I squared means negative 1. Then analyze 150, we will get 25 times 6. The square root of 25 will be 5. And here we have negative 1 times 5 means negative 5 times square root of 6. Write this example, please. This example. 10 and 15 is. Run. خلصنا؟ طيب, how to do simplify to this product? We have the square root of negative 16 times square root of negative 25. How to do this problem? What's the meaning of negative 16? Negative 16 means negative 1 times 16. And also, negative 25 is negative 1 times 25. And square root of negative 1 equals I. So you can here distribute square root of negative 1 times square root of 16 times square root here of negative 1 times square root of 25. Now, square root of negative 1 means I, and square root of 16 means 4. And here also I, and square root of 25 will be 5. Now, 4 times 5 will be 20. And I times I will be I squared. And I squared equal negative 1. Substitute. So negative 1 times 20 equals negative 20. Okay. Ten and 15. 10:30. Done? خلصنا؟ Okay. Now, how to solve the equation? How to solve the equation with pure imaginary solutions? Listen, please. Solve x squared plus 81 equals 0. To solve this equation, we can remove 81 to the second side, will be negative 81. Then take the square root of the two sides to remove the square. The square root of x squared will be x, and here the square root of negative 81. Now we want to solve this problem. Square root of negative 1 means I, and the square root of 81 will be what? Will be 9. Write this example, please. Done? Right. How to solve 3x squared plus 27? Listen, please. Three x squared plus 27. The first step, try to remove 27. You can take it to the second side. So 3x squared equal negative 27. Then try to remove 3 from this side. So divide the two sides by 3. So x squared equal negative 27 divided by 3 will be 9. Then take the square root of the two sides. Here will be x. And here we can write negative 1 times 9. Square root of negative 1 times the square root of 9. The square root of negative 1 means I. And the square root of 9 will be 3. And we have positive and negative value. So here positive and negative value, or we can write x equal 3i and x equal negative 3i. Okay, done? Finished? Okay. Tomorrow, inshallah, we will continue from here, complex numbers. So, who has any question about these ideas? No questions? So, this is our video for today. Thank you for your listening. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.